Hello, I'm Matthew, a Chartered Financial Planner at Wealth Advice. One of our most popular YouTube videos covers the Money Purchase Annual Allowance. Frustratingly, since we recorded that video, the allowance has changed, so I'm recording a short update to let you know how those changes will affect you. So to start with, we'll do a quick recap on what the Money Purchase Annual Allowance is. The Money Purchase Annual Allowance is triggered when someone takes taxable income from a defined contribution pension. So that's a pension that's in drawdown. If you take taxable income from that, it restricts the amount that you can pay into a pension going forward. So the annual allowance is £60,000. That's the amount that a person and a company could contribute into your pension, including tax relief, in a tax year. There are some nuances in the sense that you can go back 3 previous tax years to look at unused allowances, and this is called carry forward. But for the purpose of today's video, we'll just look at the annual allowance, which is currently £60,000, and the Money Purchased Annual Allowance, which is £10,000. In the previous video that we recorded, the Money Purchase Annual Allowance was £4,000. So again, that's why the change between £4,000 up to £10,000 is important for us to cover today. So why should you care about the Money Purchase Annual Allowance? If you are entering retirement and you're accessing taxable funds from a pension and you've got no intention of working again, then you don't really need to think about the Money Purchase Annual Allowance at all. You can say, I'm fully in retirement and I don't intend to save into a pension going forward again. If, however, you're entering retirement and you're going to start accumulating and spending some funds, but there's an opportunity that you might carry on working or you might continue to put money into a pension, then you want to think carefully about the Money Purchased Annual Allowance. The main thing that you want to do is make sure that you don't accidentally trigger the Money Purchase Annual Allowance and then restrict the amount that you can pay into a pension going forward. I recently talked to a company director. He was looking to retire and start to reduce his hours. So he thought about accessing some funds for his pension, but he also thought actually there's an opportunity to make contributions from the company into his pension. And actually they would be likely to be higher than that £10,000 figure. So for him, he's got a trade-off of when does he take that taxable income and when does he think about making that contribution. So today, having watched this video, the one thing I would make you aware of is to say, accessing tax-free cash from a pension doesn't count towards triggering the Money Purchase Annual Allowance, and also any income from a defined benefit pension isn't relevant for that. So for you, it's only when you're taking the taxable income from a drawdown situation or you're fully encashing a small personal pension over £10,000 that you might be then triggering that Money Purchase Annual Allowance, and you should think a little bit more about the consequences. As I said before, if you're not intending to save more into a pension, that's completely fine. You could think about actioning that, and that shouldn't have a knock-on impact on your financial planning for the future. If you do think that you might spend more and might then save more into a pension going forward, then think twice about taking that taxable income. We have had people in the past who've got in touch with us looking to make large pension contributions, considering going back previous tax years, possibly putting a few £100,000 into a pension, and then it comes up in the conversation that they cashed in a small pension a few years ago for paying off a mortgage or towards some home improvements. In that situation, that individual's accidentally triggered the Money Purchase Annual Allowance, and they're restricted to only that £10,000 per tax year into a pension. So for their own planning, the detrimental effect there had been quite significant, and no one had explained to them what the Money Purchase Annual Allowance was. If you're unsure how it affects you, I'd encourage you to speak to a financial planner such as ourselves.